behind him to undo what he said. Back during slavery, when black people like me talked to the slaves, they didn't kill him. They'd send some old house Negro along behind him to undo what he said. You have to read the history of slavery to understand this. There were two kinds of Negroes. There was that old house Negro and the field Negro. And the house Negro always looked out for his master. When the field Negroes got too much out of line, he held them back in check. He put them back on the plantation. The house Negro could afford to do that because he lived better than the field Negro. He ate better, he dressed better, and he lived in a better house. He lived right up next to his master in the attic or the basement. He ate the same food his master ate and wore his same clothes. And he could talk just like his master. Good diction. And he loved his master more than his master loved himself. That's why he didn't want his master hurt. If the master got sick, he'd say, "What's the matter, boss? We sick?" When the master's house caught a fire, he'd try and put the fire out. He didn't want his master's house burned. He never wanted his master's property threatened. And he was more defensive of it than the master was. That was the house Negro. But then you had some field Negroes who lived in huts, had nothing to lose. They wore the worst kind of clothes, they ate the worst food, and they caught hell. They felt the sting of the lash. They hated their master. Oh, yes, they did. If the master got sick, they prayed that the master died. If the master's house caught a fire, they prayed for a strong wind to come along. This was the difference between the two. And today you still have house Negroes and field Negroes. Yeah. I'm a field Negro.
Welcome to another episode of You Left Shit Out. I'm your host, Compton J. Thought it was pretty fitting to start with this video of Malcolm X. Every time I find a new one, I want to make sure I share. And of course, this one is talking about the house Negro versus the field Negro. And I had just tweeted out something about that, I think yesterday. So, but welcome to the show. We have some interesting topics today. Before we get into that, let's make sure we like the stream. We already have 80 people, so that should be 80 likes. Welcome to everybody on Rockfin on Twitter. We have to attach or reconnect our Facebook, so we're not on Facebook today or for this stream. But again, like the stream, that will get more people into the chat so we can have better discussions as a community. Let's do a chat check here. Chat check. Somebody's birthday in the chat. What's up? Happy birthday where? Not that time and space matters anymore. All right. So hello. The fraud squad are establishment lackeys who don't take their money, but fully all of their whims and wants. Right. This is what I said about earlier, or this speaks to what I said. What I've always said is that what does it matter if you don't take corporate money if the person you take orders from does? That doesn't matter. It negates it. That's a better way of saying it. You don't take money, great. But if you take orders from somebody who does, that negates you not taking money. So that's the go around. Just get a face that doesn't take money to perpetuate the same game. That's the game that the squad is playing. So great. Thank you for doing that. We got an extra 20 people in here, so we can get as many people in here before we get into the topics. Just reading some of your comments right now before we get started. Malcolm has a look too. Absolutely. Reading a couple more comments and then we're going to get started here. Like the stream. We have 100 people, so that should equal 100 thumbs ups or 100 likes to get this stream started. The squad are capitalist and imperialist. Absolutely. I think speak the truth to power, brothers. Speak the truth to power. I'm going to leave it as the last comment there. 106 people watching right now. I'll check the likes in just a second. But here is the topics for today. I'll put the graphic back up right there. So we have reformists, and that's just a montage picture or a collage picture of reformists. Leftists, we're just giving them the respect that they call themselves leftists, so let's call them that. So reformist leftists, and I'm saying we need to stop pushing progressive Democrats. All these stories are connected. So we have the future of the progressive Democrats to the far right. We have the current progressive Democrats in the middle. And then to the far left, we have the people that's pushing to keep the two things on the right going. So all of the stories are connected. So I guess it really doesn't matter which one I start with, really, because I'll have to do some overlapping in talking about this. Let me bring up one thing really quick here. Actually, let's go to this here. So let me stop sharing here and share a different screen. On the back, we have the Anti-Imperialist Summit. This interview is the one with the Ethiopian interview. That's with Hermela and Asabi back there. So that's what you're watching. In the back, I like to have just other episodes that you might want to check out in the back. Typically summits. All right, so this graphic here I wanted to put up. Let's put it on the screen. Squad votes like corporate Democrats. That's the main topic for today. But I think this is hard. Which one to start with? Hang on a second. Actually, we may have to start with this one. Yeah. Because in order to talk about the reformists who are pushing for more of this, we have to talk about why this strategy, Justice Democrats, the squad, why it has been an awful failure. Okay, so this is the topic. So let me bring up the first video. If there's a couple of things I'm forgetting. This is what happens. Okay, so there's a couple of things I'm supposed to do before I'm shut. Okay, so the other thing I need to shout out is our Substack. To get notifications for streams like this, if you're on our mailing list, which is our Substack, you will get emails. So the video, you can click right in your email to play. You'll be getting those if you join our mailing list, which is our Substack again. You know how YouTube is hiding our live content. Sometimes I log into my other account, go to when we're live, and the video is buried down below videos that aren't even live. That tells you that, because the live videos are supposed to appear first of the people that you're following, but it's buried like at the 10th video. So that is the reason why I stress all of these things so much. Join our mailing list. Like the stream. That's how we are able to not beat the algorithms, but to fight as hard as we can against it. So there we go. All right, so let me pull up the first content. Let me see if it's a video or article I'm going to do first here. Let's actually, I got two videos. Let's start with the Vanguard, because they do a pretty thorough job where I may not have to use Breaking Point's video. I didn't see a lot of content on this, and I always like to give a visual for when I'm doing these stories. So let's stop sharing this one and let's share the video here. So they break it down, but this is just so to help us with the details for the discussion. So let's go to here. Let's skip that ad. These are the boys, the brothers at the Vanguard. And let's listen in to what they're talking about, the money, where it went to. I think that's full screen now. And then we're going to dive into this discussion. We have 146 people watching. If we could have 140 likes, that would be great. That would help against the algorithm. And let's begin. Where's the video? Okay, right here. Actually, I just got to unmute it. All right, let's go.
And yeah, as Primo Radical points out here on Twitter, yesterday the House of Representatives passed a $40 billion aid package to Ukraine amid its conflict with Russia. And that's not just like a pittance, guys. $40 billion. Just think for a little bit about how much money that actually is. It's truly insane to think that this kind of money is being doled out by our government. Meanwhile, half of our goddamn country looks like a third world country. You know, drive through West Virginia, hell, drive through parts of Missouri, go to Flint, Michigan. You don't think that money, these billions of dollars of taxpayer money, could have gone to our own domestic issues, our own communities? I mean, obviously there's issues going on all over the world, just like in Ukraine and Russia. There's horrible humanitarian atrocities happening all across the world, most of which, by the way, are funded and enabled by us, such as what's going on in Palestine, such as what's going on in Yemen. But again, somehow $40 billion of taxpayer money is materialized here with seemingly no dissent from the Democratic Party and definitely not the squad members. Again, just to be spent, even though we can't find the money to help end homelessness, we can't find the money to help insure Americans and make sure that, you know, thousands of people aren't dying a year thanks to.
Let's pause it right there and talk about the numbers. Thank you, Gavin and Zach. So let me just read the tweet. Yesterday, the House of Representatives passed a $40 billion with a B aid package to Ukraine amid its conflict with Russia. The vote count was 368 to 57, with all 57 no votes coming from Republicans. Now, answer this question. Why couldn't they just not have voted for it? It would have still passed. Why on earth? Like, you abstain from voting, and when you know something's going to pass, so that you're because you're trying to signal to progressives, why on earth? There's 300, so there would have been how many squad members? 5, let's just say 5. There would have been 363 votes. It would have passed. So why on earth aren't you abstaining on this or voting no on this? Your votes were not needed to pass whatsoever. We can't get your no vote to block anything. But when we get your yes vote, it's for shit like this in the Iron Dome. Just ridiculous. Just ridiculous. But let me read more of the details here. Actually, is that it? Oh, the other thing. Republicans, 57 Republicans voted no. Now, is that to say that 57 Republicans are doing a great thing and they're totally anti-war? No. If this was a Republican administration asking for the very exact thing for the very exact reason, they will be voting for it. So let's not start cheering them as if they did something great. But why aren't there even any Democrats there? The 57 Republicans that voted no, they knew their no votes wasn't going to hold back this. So you're telling me you can't even not vote for something that you know is going to pass overwhelmingly? This tells you that the vast majority of the people in the House are okay with war. are okay with imperialism. Let's listen to some more Zach and Gavin break this down. I'll try to shoot up some of your comments before it gets to several hundred here. Hang on a second.
A lack of basic healthcare coverage. This is absolute insanity. And let's take a look at this article real quick from PBS. It talks a little bit about this bill and this package. As it says, once again, House passes 40 billion Ukraine aid package. Again, that's $40 billion.
That is comparable to the entire wealth of Charles Koch, by the way.
Yeah, it's insane how much money that is. And the fact that this didn't really, I mean, obviously it made news. I'm reading a news story here, but I mean, that kind of money was just washed away without more of a debate happening. This is absolutely insane. Anyway, let's take a look here. The House approved a fresh $40 billion Ukraine aid package Tuesday as lawmakers beefed up President Joe Biden's initial request, signaling a magnified bipartisan commitment to thwart Russian President Vladimir Putin.
Joe Biden asked for something like 31 billion. Guess what they said? 31 billion. Come on. Here's some extra money. Here's 40. But we demand a $15 minimum wage, and you tell us about an unelected Senate parliamentarian. You got homeless veterans on the street right now. You have veterans who can't get a doctor's appointment in a week. It takes them 3 or 4 weeks to get a doctor, be seen by a doctor at the VA. You have people who should be home or should have been home during the pandemic and should have been paid to be home so that they can not be put in danger. We can't pay for that shit. We can't pay for wage replacement during a pandemic. We can't get emergency health care, Medicare for all, during a pandemic, which he can do. We can't get student loan debt wiped away. But all the weapons manufacturers can get money, billions of dollars overnight, with everybody voting yes lockstep. That's terrible. Let's listen to a little more. They give a couple of more details before we I have a couple of other videos to go over.
Putin's bloody 3-month-old invasion. It's crazy, by the way, that it's been going on now for 3 months. It kind of still seems like it was last weekend when all this popped off. Anyway, that's besides the point. And while it was bipartisan,
Okay, we have about 200 people right now watching. If you all like the video, we can get up to 200 likes. I want to try to get the feed up to 300 or 400 people because that's when the comments be really popping. And I want to get some conservatives in the comments. I want to get some different opinions in the comments so that we can really get these discussions in there going. So we're at 145. Thank you so much. It helps as you're hitting the like button. More people are coming into the stream. So just keep doing that. 145 we're at now. So thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. I love the community. Do a couple of more comments because I know once I get going, the comments will start to build up. When I start ranting and hyping when I start hyping all of you up with my rants, start popping off in the chat. It's the healthcare. Here we go. This is what I'm talking about. Takes me 3 or 4 months every appointment with the VA. This is Silver Fox. I know this because my brother is an older brother. So I'm the youngest of the brothers. 3 older brothers. The eldest was in the military, and he had a stroke. Huh? Oh, and he had a stroke. My wife is interrupting the conversation for her to so he had a stroke. You know how long it takes to get responses from this hospital? He had follow-up therapy appointments, stuff like that. Literally 30 days. Make the appointment today. In 30 days, he'll have an appointment. It's terrible. But they claim, oh, we love thank you for our service. Fuck your thank yous. Pay for some shit. Keep your thank yous. Keep your flag pins on your suit jacket. Keep all of that shit. Get enough doctors in here so that the people that have been traumatized by your imperialist war can get some medical attention in a timely manner. Terrible. And there's homeless. How many homeless? How many of the homeless population, unhoused population, are veterans? Do they care about that? So yes, it's absurd. So let's try to get through this without going on another tangent. I do that.
As Primo Radical pointed out on Twitter, actually all of the no votes came from Republicans. So of course you can, point to the fact that because of the fact that Joe Biden is president, obviously Republicans are going to oppose whatever he supports. So, if this was Donald Trump proposing a $40 billion package, I imagine all these Republicans like Marjorie Taylor Greene, for example, would have gone along with it. They really just want points against Biden. So that has to be acknowledged, right? Principled stand against U.S. Arms going to other countries. But still, the fact remains the only dissent as far as this package came was from the Republicans, again, with all 57 no votes coming from Republicans. And that obviously brings me no joy to report on, because basically what the squad members, what the so-called progressive...
I'm going to scoot it to this next part that I'm waiting for, but let's move it right there.
Media, it's really important to point out that yes, it was 37 or 57 Republicans that were the only no votes, right? And it's also extremely important to point out why that was. That was because Joe Biden was in office, right?
Commercial. So he makes the point here, but I like how he articulated, and this will be the last point of this video once we hear what Zach says here.
We could have foreseeably seen a lot more of these Democrats vote no. I think we would have seen Ro Khanna vote no. I think we would have seen a bulk of the squad vote no. I think we would have seen some more courageous acts, right? And so that's why it's so funny to me, like the people who actively understand that like the squad is corrupt and they will only vote one way when they're given permission to by their party leadership in order to kind of like peddle this like popular thing with the base, which is, obviously popular for a reason, not intervention, all those kinds of things. The Republican Party does that same thing too. So like, don't look at these people like Marjorie Taylor Greene as if they're the only ones that are standing up to power. No, they're doing the exact same thing that everybody calls out the squad for doing, which is performing. They're performing when the coast is clear. They're not going to do anything to meaningfully oppose this. They're not going to stand across the aisle with if Donald Trump wins.
I don't know if people, the average layperson who's into politics surface level, understands how much of this is just completely for show for us. Completely for show. When they do these votes on co-sponsoring bills that's never going to see the light of the floor, just so they can run on it. Oh, I'm the co-sponsor of what? Chantel Brown? You're the co-sponsor of what, motherfucker? What? All right, so let me bring up the other video. Actually, let me cue it up before I share. I'm gonna toss some of your comments up for actually let's do that first. Let's talk about some of your comments thus far here. Let's see. Just got a notification saying the Senate Republicans blocked a bill that would have codified Roe v. Wade. Absolutely. That happened. Did you know they did force the vote for this? When they knew, Chuck Schumer knew that this wasn't going to pass, but they did it. I wonder what the reformist leftists have to say about that. I wonder. There is no squad. They just took a hip hop slogan and made themselves hip. You ain't no revolutionaries. The squad is a bunch of suckers. It's a concocted story narrative. They don't hang out. They don't have meetings. None of this stuff. Like staffers of, I forget which staffer. Was it Cori Bush? Unidentified, anonymous staffers. Of Cori. What do you? That's all made up. That's what they're saying. Yeah, that's all made up. They don't talk to each other. They don't meet. Nothing like that. That is a media narrative meant to hold non-establishment people in place. So the duopoly has a plan it's the plan of for those that we can convince. That's the red and blue team. And then it's those that we can't convince. We want to shut them completely out. Wait a second here. Thought I saw a crazy comment. Oh, this is not the comment I was talking about. We can't because we've been demonetized. So we're wrestling with that now. So hopefully we'll get that back in a month or so. But yeah. Here's Dana. I'm a physician and worked at a VA hospital on the west side of Chicago for years. We kept getting our funding cut and staff members kept getting laid off. Military's winning, right? I don't understand how more people is not seeing this. I really do not get how more people are seeing this. Thank you, Dana. Any other information you know about VAs, please let us know in the comments. I'll put that up since you're a person that has direct knowledge. And also I think it was Silver Wolf. Any other tidbit of information, good information that the community should know, put that in there. So we're up to 234 live stream viewers and we're at 200 likes. Thank you so much. That can go up a little more, but we're right where we need to be. Okay, so now the other video is queued. Let's actually, I lost it. Let's bring it up again. So let's go to the we can cover the Breaking Points video coverage of it. I think they do give a little bit more breakdown of the numbers of where the actual money goes to. So let's do that. You checking out, baby? All right. She'll see you later. Love you. So let's put that up. So kids are the girls are gone. Yeah, they're kids, but I live with all girls. So it's just me at the house streaming. It's very rare. But anyway, so let's put this other one up here. And there we go. All right, so let's look at their coverage. I think later on he talks about the squad. So this is more to get the details of where the money goes. Because it's later in the video where he talks about the squad.
Let's move on because it somewhat pertains to the baby formula crisis. Sure. This is about Ukraine. So let's put this up there on the screen. So this is the only article I could find where it talked about the U.S. House passes $40 billion, which actually listed, Crystal, what that...
Why is that? This is the only article he could find that listed the details. Why is CNN, MSNBC, ABC, where are you? Because when you want to list the details to propaganda, when you want to list the details of war over in the Ukraine, you got every single detail down to the T. plastered everywhere. So where's the details of this? Where's your reporting on it? So let's click and listen to the next part of this.
Actual aid does. Everybody just says 40 billion. Okay, that's a lot of money. What kind of weapons? What is earmarked? Exactly which billion is going where? So here's what they wrote. And I guess VOA is American propaganda, so it kind of makes sense. The package includes $6 billion for security assistance, including training equipment, weapons, and support. $8.7 billion to replenish stocks of existing U.S.
Sorry, I'm gonna rewind it and let's see where each little category of money goes. So let's play it.
Assistance, including training equipment, weapons, and support. 8.7
training equipment, weapons, and support. That's going to weapons manufacturers. And and some outside consultant team that trains people. That's where this is going.
$7 billion to replenish stocks of existing U.S. equipment sent to Ukraine. Think
existing U.S. equipment, that's going to weapons manufacturers again.
Javelin missiles, those type of things. Then $3.9 billion for European command operations. I don't know what that means. In addition,
just very vague. That's going to somebody who's part of the weapons. This is all about going to weapons manufacturers.
The legislation authorizes a further $11 billion in presidential drawdown authority, which allows the president to authorize the transfer of articles and services from U.S. stocks without congressional approval in response to an emergency. Biden had only...
So Biden can just give another $11 million without any approval. This is I don't understand.
Only asked for $5 billion. So let that sink in. The president said, I only need $5 billion in discretionary authority to send whatever the hell I want from U.S. military stocks to Ukraine. Congress was like, yeah. But what if we doubled that and then added an extra billion? So why don't we give you $11 billion for you to send, again, without congressional approval, whatever you want? Why does this matter? Because the administration and the president in particular now has the capacity and the congressional authority, if this bill is ratified by the Senate, in order to send offensive style weapons to Ukraine. Now, look, he already has a limited ability in order to do that, but Congress has now given him $11 billion worth of military equipment. Think everything that we have, if he so chooses to do so. And now he is the sole discretionary authority over what exactly gets sent over there, and not in regards to this particular pool of funds. You cool with that? You want to put all that power in the hands of a single man? It's not like the president doesn't have enough power. Now, I'll continue. $4 billion in foreign military financing to provide support for Ukraine affected by the crisis. So in effect, we're backstopping some of the loans and other things that they've taken out. And then in addition, the U.S.
finance, so banks,
has rushed $3.5 billion worth of armaments to Ukraine since Ukraine invaded, including howitzers, anti-aircraft Stinger systems.
So again, more weapons. So far, weapons manufacturers and some banks.
Anti-tank Javelin systems, ammunition, and recently disclosed ghost drones. Again, not a lot of clarity on what exactly those ghost drones are doing. Now, how exactly did the vote on this break down? Let's put this up there on the screen. Well, it went 368 to 57. Now, every single no vote on that bill, Crystal, were Republicans. And I think it really bears noting that.
So this is where we're going to get to the squad part. But before I do that, I did want to put up some more of your comments because Crystal well, I won't characterize it. I'll play it first and let you be the judge of the characterization. Taxation without representation. Absolutely. Yes. If you get demonetized, that means they can't send you, no one can send you money. That is absolutely right. So Patreon is the best way to support us. Patreon, I think we even have a $3 membership a month. So if you can afford $3 a month, we have that. But yeah, that's really, Patreon is the way to go. Like, just even when we were monetized, they take a lot of money. Anyway, so let's continue some more comments. I'll bet 90% of the money won't even leave the country. It will go straight to Raytheon. Exactly. When they say, oh, it's going to Ukraine, it's not. It's going to the benefit of Ukraine. It's going directly to somebody else. So that's really the better way of saying it. But they want the listener, the average listener who's not in tune to all of the lies, to just think, oh, this is for Ukraine. No, this is for weapons manufacturers. The U.S. government always has money to give for weapons of death, yet there's never enough money for programs to facilitate survival. I think the people, thank you for the comment, we have to the system is working exactly how it was designed. It was designed by founding colonialists, our founding imperialists, our founding slaveholders. They call them the founding fathers. That's a fucking joke. The founding imperialists, the founding murderers, the founding genocidal maniacs. Let's continue with the video.
Not only did not a single Democrat dissent from this, but there was no explanation given to the American people as to why the administration asks for $33 billion to Ukraine and Congress is like, yeah, but we'll give you 40. Why? Who is this money going to? Who exactly is the beneficiary of this extra?
We know who the beneficiary
we'll
is.
get to that.
They're all here.
Right.
We're in the Beltway.
Yes.
All the defense contractors that got massively wealthy during the Afghanistan war and during every other conflict.
We need to ask these questions. And look, I'm not going to say all these 57 Republicans were noble. We have a list. We can put it up there on the screen. I think a lot of them did so for deficit reasons. But hey, look, whatever. I will say, I actually thought, and it pains me to say this, that one of the better responses on this was actually Marjorie Taylor Greene. So let's put this up there. Here's what she had to say. Let's go to the next one there, guys, which is that she says, in America last, and forgive her rhetoric, $40 billion Ukraine first bill we are voting on tonight. There is an authorization for funds to be given to the CIA for who knows what and for who knows how much, but there is no baby formula for American mothers. Now, look, before the inevitable trolls come out, of course, it's not a one-to-one situation.
Right.
But to me, it's about what gets default, bipartisan, overwhelming support and billions of dollars of funds with no questions asked, no public debate, etc. And what gets talked about on podcasts and online and on Facebook groups amongst millions of new moms and gets no support in Congress.
Right.
No attention. No.
You see how this is not going to be changed without a revolution? The people who are in power are running the game. It's like Monopoly. They're running the game. The game is rigged, but we somehow think we're going to beat them at their rigged game and get them out. Are you crazy? That's never going to happen. Never going to happen. Let's do a pause here and do shout out like this video. We're up to 200 and it's refreshing. We're up to 285 viewers, 238 likes. We could probably do another 40 likes. 285 viewers and 238 likes. So another 40 likes we can put on there. We can get a bunch more people in the chats and get this conversation popping. And I haven't even gotten. Actually, the stories are kind of all meshed together. So for those that just joined us, these are the stories. We're talking about reformist leftists still pushing to elect more corporate more progressive Democrats, even though we're seeing what progressive Democrats are doing now, which is the story in the middle, and then the future of progressive Democrats. This young lady, Summer Lee, read about her, sounds like a great person, great young lady, but she's running as a Democrat, and they're calling her the next AOC, and we know what AOC is doing now. So just getting you up to date on what we're doing, what we're talking about. And right now I'm in the middle story. They're all kind of interwoven. I'm in the middle story, but I'll begin to kind of interject some of the other stories here. All right, so back to the video, and let's finish the video out real quick here.
No statements, nothing.
So let me speak to the Democrats first. It is so pathetic that there not only was there not a single no vote, there was not a word of dissent as far as I could see. And, you know, early on, you had at least Ilhan Omar. I think she might have been basically the only one, but raising questions about, hey, guys, maybe we need to slow down. Maybe we need to actually debate these things because we are going really far and really fast. And I think we should press the pause button and actually dig into what we're doing here, what the goals are, what the end game is.
So I wrote something down for this. Let me look at my notes here. Now, let me see if I can read it verbatim here. How many instances do we need before we stop calling any Democrat in the House a progressive or leftist? You know what I mean? Like, we go, oh, they disappointed this time. Oh, they disappointed that time. Oh, how many times does that have to happen before we go, maybe that person's not a progressive. Maybe that person's not a leftist. No on force to vote. Yes on the Iron Dome. Yes on $40 billion to Ukraine. Plus other stuff I'm just skipping over. List the progressive things other than words on Twitter. I can list neocon things. Can you list progressive leftist things? So let me bring up my tweet here because I actually tweeted out. Where did I put that tweet? Maybe hopefully it's in the bookmarks and not somewhere far away. Here we go. So I'm going to come back to this video just so I can finish out a couple of more tidbits of information they may have in that video. But let's go. I think this is it. This is my tweet. Let me go back here. So this is my tweet here, and I will enlarge that just for those that have a little issue with sight. So I think that's pretty good. All right, so this is really the question, a question to ask. Or something to think about. If every so-called progressive Democrat in the House was replaced with a corporate Democrat, what would be different about the vote to send Ukraine $40 billion? And I've said this in many streams previously. There would be no legislative difference, no legislative outcomes that would be different if we literally replace every single squad member with the corporate Democrat. There wouldn't be any bill that we currently have that we wouldn't have then. There wouldn't be any bill that we don't have now that we would have. It would be the same exact outcome. So what are we voting for them for? Why are we putting them in office? For the same outcome. To me, it literally makes no sense. And that's where now, so let's bleed into the next, the companion topic, which is reformist leftists are still pushing for progressive Democrats. We saw it with Nina Turner. Still pushing for progressive Democrats. Why? Are we not seeing what they're doing? Like literally, like Mike said it himself. Let me see. And actually, I won't bring it up. But Mike Figueredo, I think that's how you say his name. Mike Figueredo from the Humanist Report said it himself. He was like, we elect 5 more, and then we elect 5 more. Then you're gonna say we need 60. Then we're gonna give you 60. Then you're gonna say it's one person that's not voting. We're gonna need 61. Then we're gonna need 61. It's like it's never ending. Mike, a reformist leftist, let that spill out. But we can't keep pushing these people. And the thing is, maybe they're nice, maybe they're great in the beginning, but something about Washington, D.C., Capitol Hill changes them. We've seen it with Cori Bush. We've seen it glaringly with AOC. We've seen it with Jamal Bowman. We've seen it with Mondaire. They don't even talk about Mondaire Jones being a progressive anymore. Why keep doing this for? Voting for more Democrats to do what? To have the same exact outcome if you were to vote for a Democrat? I mean, for a corporate Democrat? What is the point? Do a check. And also, let's go to the second part of this tweet. And then I'll look at some of the comments here. The second part here. This is the analogy that I give. So actually, let me toss up some of your comments. They have to protect Jim Crow fascism, and folks just think Jim Crow is over. It's absolutely not over. Thank you for that comment. Minnie Miller, no Millie Miller, regular. The sorry not this time squad. SNTT. Yeah, I like that. I'm trying to think of an acronym. I don't even think they are great in the beginning, CJ. That's a good point. I was giving them more than they deserve. You're right. He'll still vote blue no matter who. And before I go back, let's read this last comment. The most depressing part is all of this is crumbling around us in real time while plenty of people actually want to pretend everything is fine while we're stuck sitting in a burning house. You see that meme of the dog in the burning house? He's like smiling and it's like a fire around him. That's what you're describing. That's absolutely what it feels like. So we're up to 300 or so, 298 viewers, and let's see where our likes are. I think we're about to eclipse it, so we won't be able to base it off viewers anymore. We're at 278, so another 10 or so, and we can get this up to 600. We can get a lot of people in here in this conversation. I'll try to keep going back to comments. Let's go back to my tweet. This is the second part of the tweet. This is my analogy of what's the squad and they're voting for it. Progressive. It's not just the squad, it's progressive, but they're supposed to be the furthest left, and that's the reason why we're only speaking, not only, but why the title is the squad. Because they're the furthest left of all the leftists, all the progressives in Congress, supposedly. So this is the analogy. This is what the tweet says. If someone told you they were a vegan, but every time you saw them, they were eating a Big Mac, would you still call them? I'm sorry, let me read all of that again. If someone told you that they were a vegetarian, but every time you saw them, they were eating a Big Mac, would you still call them a vegetarian? Why do we still call the squad left, especially when their actions say otherwise? Like, I'm a vegetarian. Okay, I'm a vegetarian. It's all over my profile. It's in my bio. I got, vegetarian flags. Every time you see me, I'm eating a Big Mac. I'm eating steaks. I'm eating porterhouse steaks. Every time you see me. Why are we still going with that label? of progressive and Democrat? Because if you're to take the name off and just go, let me see how you voted, would you be saying progressive? Leftist? There hasn't been a vote in the Senate, but I wonder what Bernie Sanders is going to do. Right? If I'm wrong, if the vote has taken place in the Senate already, please let me know. But I think there hasn't been a vote, but I'm curious to see what Bernie Sanders will do here. Will he fall in line like the other so-called leftist progressives, like the Squad? And let's keep in mind, the Squad did not have to vote for this and it would have passed. Just like other things where they do the fake, I'm not voting for it because they know it's going to pass. So why would they not do that here? What is that signaling? What is it signaling to say, we know you don't need our vote and we can not rile up our base by not voting for this, but fuck that, we're doing it. Like, to me, that's saying something. Either it's saying something about the ruling class and Pelosi, that she runs shit, or it's saying that they're not progressives. It can't be nothing. How do progressives keep making non-progressive decisions? How do leftists keep making non-leftist decisions? How does that keep happening? And so let's check out some of your comments, actually. Let's go to the first one. Check out some of your comments on Twitter, that is. And then I guess I can go to the ones here. But some of your comments on Twitter. Let's see what where is it at? Let's see what some people have said. So, okay, so let's go. We have this comment: CIA is the government. Is that what's on screen? Yeah. I'll read a couple here. Let's see what she has here. What will sending $40 billion to Ukraine do for your family? What will it do? What would it do? It's like having, let's say you have some let's just say you have some kids, right? You have some kids live in your house. Hey, can we get some extra food in here? I'm hungry. Can we get a better bed? Like, my back is really, can we get this? No. Then you as a parent, you out taking the neighbor's child to Chuck E. Cheese, spending buku money. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Your own kids in your own house, you won't provide toothpaste. You won't provide a comfortable bed. You won't provide decent food. But you got your neighbor's child out at Chuck E. Cheese, where a kid can be a kid. That doesn't make any sense. Let's continue with some comments here. I get riled up, everybody. They vote no. Dems run 1 billion ads about how they don't support Ukraine and are secret Russian agents. They lose their seat, and we get people who will eager to go along. Good plan, Jay. Let's do it. Oh, God. That has to be a fake account. You cannot be this stupid. Look at this picture. Soft on drugs. They got him as Scarface, superimposed as Scarface. Is that all the comments? It says something like 13 or something. 40 billion appears overnight for a war we should have nothing to do with. Also, 50% of Americans are considered poor or low income. People sleep under bridges, and 26 states have no baby formula in stock. Have you figured out yet that the government doesn't work for you? Look at that. Joe Biden making it rain. We're winning. American exceptionalism. To have people starving and on the streets getting evicted. That's exceptionally American. That's a better way of exceptionally American instead of American exceptionalism. Continue. They are all full of bullshit, BS, and everyone knows it. All no voters were the GOP. Wow, chilling. This person is talking to me. You are a danger to yourself and others because you're printing narcissistic need to sneer at people who are actually doing the hard work. Who is actually doing the hard work is precisely keeps the oligarch happy, smiling, and in control. Like this is on next level. It says DSA, man. I'm cool. I don't even need to say it. DSA in the profile. Okay, it says DSA in the profile. Are we done? Do we need any other explanations here? Let's move on. That's clownery. That's clown shit, as me and Nick would say. That's clown shit. Let's move to the next one here. The old anti-war left is all but gone. Between ignoring Obama's war and Trump saying Iraq was a mistake, we should get along with Russia. The left lost its mind. Let's get to your comments in here, and then we're gonna go back to the. Actually, let me see what the next item is here for me to bring up here for this discussion. So as we talk about this, let me. I did that one. Oh, here it goes. So let me bring up the third component of this stream, which is the future progressive that they're calling the next AOC. And her name is Summer. I think I'm pretty sure her name is Summer Lee. I'm waiting for the graphic to update here. Yeah. And of course, we have to go to MSNBC and talk about this. So let's stop that. Let's share the other screen. Mehdi Hassan. I think that's how you say his name. His show on Peacock. Let me make sure. The Mehdi Hassan show on Peacock. The title of this state lawmaker may be the squad's next member. May 11th. This was yesterday. Okay, let me just read the details here. Pennsylvania state rep. Actually, am I sharing this? Yes. Okay. I was like, wait, did I share this already? Let's close all of these so I know which one to go to. Okay, so this one. Pennsylvania State Rep Summer Lee is running for the U.S. House, and if the Progressive Democrat wins, she will not only be the state's first Black woman congressman, she will also be the squad's next member. What is the membership? What is the membership instructions? How is this membership? How are you to gain membership? Is Mehdi the one that's telling people who can be part of the squad? Is that how this works? But let's listen to Mehdi Hassan talk about. Is it going to update? There we go. Talk about it, or talk about State Rep Summer Lee. Oops.
If you're not from around Pittsburgh, chances are you haven't heard of the person who very well could be the next member of the squad. In 2018, community organizer and Howard Law School grad Summer Lee mounted a primary challenge against an incumbent state representative, a popular establishment Democrat who had held his seat for 19 years.
Polluters always find their way to Black communities and to poor communities, and people just expect us to, just be okay with it. I bet people like us will get down there and say, oh no, we don't want that here. Y'all didn't want that next to your school. We don't want that next to our school either. That's what we're fighting for the power to do. We just want to be able to say, just like the rich people, that no, we don't want that in our community. Why shouldn't it be us who's controlling it?
With grassroots campaigning and support from the local chapter of the Democratic Socialists of America, the then 30-year-old Lee...
Democrat Socialists of America. That's one red flag that sticks out. Let's continue.
He won the primary and the general election, handily becoming the first black woman ever elected to the state legislature from southwestern Pennsylvania. In 2020, Lee was re-elected by an even greater margin. And now this outspoken progressive is setting her sights on Congress, running for an open seat in a newly drawn district where the winner of next week's Democratic primary will automatically become the election's front runner. Lee has been endorsed by Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, the chair of the Congressional Progressive...
Elizabeth Warren. That's red flag number 2.
Caucus, Pramila
Jayapal. That's red flag number 3.
And Justice Democrats,
Justice Democrats, they get 2 flags. So we're at 5 now, because Justice Democrats gets 2 red flags. Okay, because they're the ones who started all this bullshit. So we're up to 5 red flags so far. I haven't heard a word.
Grassroots activist group that helped launch Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. In fact, good old Fox has even gone so far as to suggest Summer Lee could be the next AOC. Of course, for Fox, that's not a good thing.
And believe it or not, that's another red flag. Because if Fox News is willing to place this young lady in the narrative story, the duopoly story, as another AOC, you look and see what she's doing. That's another red flag for me. Let's continue.
A poll last month by Emily's List, which has also endorsed Lee, showed her with a commanding...
Emily's List. What is Emily's List again? Emily's List is corporate. Is that another red flag? So we're up to like what, 7 red flags?
Commanding double-digit lead over her closest Democratic primary challenger, Steve Irwin, a former staffer for the late Republican-turned-Democratic Senator Arlen Specter. But Irwin is getting some high-powered help against Lee in the form of millions of dollars and ads like this one.
Summer Lee attacked Biden's character, said he'd take us backwards. And Lee refused to support Biden's infrastructure plan that's now rebuilding bridges and roads in Western Pennsylvania. Summer Lee, more interested in fighting Democrats than getting results.
Fighting Democrats, that should be a slogan. It should say, Summer Lee, fighting Democrats and Republicans.
UDP is responsible for the content of this ad.
What exactly is UDP? From the ad, you might guess that it's a Democratic Party-aligned group. You'd be wrong. It stands for United Democracy Project, and it's a super PAC that was launched late last year with $8.5 million from the American Israel Political Action Committee, AIPAC, the hawkish, Washington-based pro-Israeli lobbying group, which has been around for 6 decades, but only began directly funding candidates last year. What a way to make an entrance. Why did AIPAC bankroll ads calling Lee a bad Democrat? And how come they didn't even mention Israel in their ad? Well, those ads are just the tip of the iceberg. UDP and another AIPAC-connected right-wing dark money group, Democratic Majority for Israel, have pumped millions into this congressional primary to support Irwin and attack Lee. That's in addition to the $269,000 in donations that AIPAC bundled for Irwin's campaign. In just the first quarter of this year, AIPAC accounted for almost half of...
So I'm going to rewind it because that was a mouthful of red, blue game. Let me just rewind it right here.
Well, those ads are just the tip of the iceberg. UDP and another AIPAC-connected right-wing dark money group, Democratic...
AIPAC right-wing dark ring. So he's going hard at the blue-red game. Let's go.
Majority for Israel have pumped millions into this congressional primary to support Irwin and attack Lee. That's in addition to the $269,000 in donations that AIPAC bundled for Irwin's campaign.
This is the whole game for progressive Democrats. It's the corporate money thing. Corporate money is the problem thing. That's part of the problem. But the bigger problem to me is that the people who are in office, that's the bigger problem, is the people who are in office. Let's say you were to wipe out the ability to donate money at all. Let's say you were to wipe that. You don't think our Congress, which is full of lawyers, it's not a coincidence that most of them are attorneys too. That's not a coincidence. But you don't think that, actually, I'm going to save that point because he's going to make another point, and then I'm going to save that point, actually.
In just the first quarter of this year, AIPAC accounted for almost half of all Irwin's donations. And when asked about their massive spending on this race, an AIPAC spokesman told the Pittsburgh NPR station that they back Irwin because of his strong commitment to advance the U.S.-Israel relationship as a member of Congress. And Summer Lee wouldn't, not according to critics, who cite a 2021 tweet thread in which she wrote, among other things, the U.S. has shown leadership in safeguarding human rights of folks it's othered. But as we fight against injustice here, the movement for Black lives, we must stand against injustice everywhere. Inhumanities against the Palestinian people cannot be tolerated or justified. I mean, she's right. But if that's the sort of rhetoric that worries AIPAC, what about this?
For many Americans, what seems to be happening, or what they believe right now is happening, is what appears to them is we're replacing national-born American, native-born Americans to permanently transform the political landscape of this very nation.
That's Republican Pennsylvania Congressman Scott Perry echoing the white supremacist and anti-Semitic Great Replacement theory in a congressional hearing. That's Scott Perry, whose leaked texts also revealed he was deeply involved in the Trump White House attempts to overturn the election. Why am I telling you about him? Because Scott Perry is also endorsed by AIPAC. And according to the liberal Jewish advocacy group, JC.
All right, I'm going to stop it there. We get the gist because he's going too far into the whole red-blue game, playing up to this bullshit. He's playing to his audience. I'm not his audience. And that's why it's starting to get a little under my skin. But I do have the article prepped. So let's bring up the article where they're talking, where this is sludge. We're not going to read the article, most of the article, but Sludge has it up. So you can go check this out on Sludge, and it's let me read it here. Pro-Israel lobby spends big to defeat progressive Summer Lee. Nearly 3 out of $4 backing Lee's Democratic primary opponent, Steve Irwin, came from the American Israel Public Affairs Committee, or super PACs deeply tied to it. Shout out Donald Shaw, writer of this piece. Democratic majority for Israel, fresh off his victory in helping defeat progressive Democrat challenger Nina Turner in Ohio, has begun throwing money behind corporate attorney and former Republican congressional staffer Steve Irwin in Pennsylvania. You like that? You like how a Republican congressional staffer has the same politics to where he can just flip and go and run as a Democrat? What do you think he's going to be like as a Democrat? But the article is pointing out how the same group that helped defeat Nina Turner in Ohio for the same reason is also the ones who are backing money here. So the group's Super PAC recently put 305,000 behind TV ads and 95,000 behind internet ads, backing Irwin, according to new FCC filings. So, I mean, they're coming after her. This kind of helps with all of the red flags that I had, because if they're coming after her like this with this Israeli PAC, that means Summer Lee is slightly better, just like Nina Turner. I wouldn't say Nina Turner was slightly better than Chantel. She's a lot better than Chantel Brown. So that means she's a lot better, not just slightly better. Maybe that's a better way of saying it. So Summer Lee, that means that Summer Lee is a lot better. But we have to start, actually, people who are fine with candidates taking money will be fine with candidates taking money from Israel. Because I was gonna point that out. But anyway, the comments are up to over 100. Let me throw some comments up here as I bring up the next graphic. Let me make sure I have it. Have it set up here. Yeah. Okay, so I can take this one down. Where are we at? Okay, my bad, everybody. I got to get all my windows up fixed here. Okay, so now let me take this one down, and now let's put up this other tweet here talking about the same topic. So now I've introduced all the sort of subtopics. So I'll kind of go back and forth in between talking about all of this. We have future progressive Democrat Summer Lee being attacked by Israel lobbyists. Big money is coming in against her because they don't want somebody like her. Okay. And then you have the squad who is showing us that what Summer Lee is going to have to become if she is elected and is a progressive Democrat, because we thought Cori Bush could stand up to it, but we're seeing that's not the case. And then we have reformist leftist media people who are still pushing for this strategy of electing progressive Democrats to be co-opted and shepherd us back to the Democratic Party. That's what this whole game is about. But let's read this tweet here from Aaron Matei. Let's go here. I've avoided the term, but fraud squad feels pretty apt. Challenging the military industrial complex is leftism 101. The squad just voted to give it another 40 billion via the Ukraine proxy war. So, insofar as they claim to be a leftist contingent, how are they not a fraud? That is a great question. That is a great question. Because the deeds, we have to see what you're doing. And this is the point I was making. Let's see what this person says. With all due respect, you should have seen the writing on the wall when Ocasio-Cortez voted to fund ICE on her first day in office after making its abolition a part of her campaign messaging. So, but that's a great point. Great point. And that's the tweet from Aaron Mate. So now let's I have another tweet. Let's see if I remember who this one is from. Oh, Danny Haifong. Let's put Danny's on the screen. I'll stop sharing here and share a different one. Danny. Here's Danny Haifong. Check him out. The Left Lens on YouTube, also on Substack. I don't know about you, but AOC voting for 40 billion in additional military aid to Ukraine when most can't afford rent, groceries, and gas is not very progressive. This is again pointing out the fact that if people's deeds, actions are opposite of what they claim to be, which one are we to go with? What they're saying or what they're doing? I think that's what both of these tweets are pointing out. Yeah, I don't have to further drag that along. But let me actually go to I tweeted something here. I don't think I saved it. So maybe I need to go through my... Is this it? That is not it. Okay, so maybe I'm not going to find it. Maybe I'm not. Thanks for everybody shouting out the episode. Okay, so then let me just go here. I thought I have it here somewhere. Maybe not. I'll spend 30 more seconds looking, and if I don't see it... Oh, this is not it, but let's play this. Let's play this. Sorry, I'm going to interrupt the regular scheduled program to play this awesome video that Courtney dropped today. Courtney Banks from the Banks Sisters. Check them out. They got their own YouTube channel also. Banks Sisters. Look at this video she put together. It's pretty cool. If you follow me or RBN on Twitter, we've retweeted this several times along with a bunch of quote tweets. So, but let's look at this video she put together about the General Strike Summit and some of the haters we had. So let's listen.
I just look, I think that it's worth being skeptical of people who spend the majority of their time delegitimizing and dividing the left. I think it's worth questioning what the motivations are. I think it's worth being skeptical.
Live stream at one point. It was like a 3-day event, and I checked in at their live stream at one point. They had like 300 viewers or something like that. And,
yeah, that's enough for a general strike, yeah. Look, I'm sure that both of these people have deep union organizing experience and labor experience.
So when we're talking about cancellation of student loan debt, we're talking about radically thinking about what it looks like to put financial power back into Black people's hands.
Like, can you imagine deciding to do a fucking general strike, like deciding to do a general strike educational seminar or whatever the fuck, not bringing a single fucking labor union organizer to that?
Yeah, hello everyone. My name is Trevor Beitelman. I'm the president and business agent of BCTGM Local 3G. We're currently the people that are on strike against the Kellogg Company.
And then ranting about fucking Twitter posts to 22 people.
2019 that he called like April 1st or April 2nd. And when he called, he found out he had missed a $20 payment.
Drove his truck into the Mohawk River over a late $20 payment to his Medicaid plan.
What a pathetic, delusional, sad state of affairs that we're in. That more than even, if more than one other person, if it's not just these people's friends and families watching right now, if more than one person is watching this, it's sad. Like, that's so fucking sad.
I think pressure on politicians is good. If the important thing is that from my perspective, that the good faith, like what is the agenda in pressuring the politicians?
Great video. I might play it again, but at the end. But the question that rings to me is this. All of those people are on the left, supposedly. What leftist critiques what other leftists are doing to try to help a situation? Who does that? But people who aren't left. You know what I mean? Like, hey, look at those people over there feeding people on Skid Row. Look at fucking Rome over there feeding the fucking poor, barely he got $300 worth of diapers. Leftists don't talk like that. Leftists understand that every little bit helps in the struggle against oppression. Leftists understand that. It's so ridiculous. And I know I wasn't on screen, but I wanted to keep that up there because look at that. Always seems like the same group of people questioning working class grassroots. Oh, I see the comment. No, I knew I was on this. I knew I wasn't on the screen because I wanted to play the whole thing. You can do this and have the whole screen on. And So yeah, because I wanted this to sink in. Always seems like it's the same people, as if they're being paid or it's a coordinated effort to stop anything, any movement to the left. That's what it feels like to me. I'm gonna play that again only because I love it. Not right now, but I'm gonna play that in just a moment again. 1 second as I bring up the next item here. Now, there is a part that actually, what am I sharing here? Let's stop sharing this and share YouTube, because you can go with me on my journey to find this on YouTube here. Okay, so what I need to find is, since we're talking about electing progressives, the latest on Nina Turner, not the latest, but we need to speak on this what's interject Nina into this, because it's part of the discussion here. So let's go with this week. Let's get the latest. This is something I did not know. This is dropped an hour ago. Nina Turner on why progressives in Congress abandoned her. Oh wow. I did not. It was dropped. This was dropped during the stream. So this was just dropped. So let's take a look at it. But before I do that, let me throw some comments up. Voting is utterly and totally pointless. That's exactly what it is, CJ. Cedar and crew are always on some don't be so demanding. These things take some time, take time. Then again. Absolutely. Noli D, always great to see you too. Oh, sorry, I should have read that. Attention whores crack me up. That's why I laugh at myself. I didn't know that's again. I gotta start reading. Actually, no, I like putting them up without kind of knowing everything about it. So, Anna Jackson, I haven't seen you in a while. They are just upper middle class libs who never know what it's like to struggle. Never know what it's like to struggle. Absolutely. Defending their share of the attention economy. That's a great point. They are anti-populist. Read Thomas Frank's book, The People. We got to have Thomas Frank back on. Thomas was on the network the first 6 months we began. Thomas Frank, and we should. He told us to call him back when his book dropped, but his book dropped in, I think we were doing the summit, another summit or something, while we didn't have him on. But anyway, him and Alex Vitale, I want to bring on. He's the one who wrote the book, The End of Policing. Bring him back on. He's been on also. Sam Sedative is not a leftist. So when I use the word leftist, whenever you see me using that for some of these people, it's because I'm giving them respect and using the word they're using to describe themselves. If you were to ask me how to describe them, I'm like you. I would not describe them as leftist. I would describe them as liberal at best, not even progressive. I would describe Sam Cedar in particular liberal at best. You're not allowed to make your own decision. You must listen to us and keep voting harder. That's essentially what the reformists are getting their audience to do. But this is why it's so important that we talk about what them as a collective group are doing. But let's get into this video. TYT just dropped this video. Nina Turner on why progressives and progressive in Congress abandoned her. So this is Nina Turner, just dropped an hour ago.
All right, welcome to the conversation. Progressive champion Nina Turner recently lost the congressional election. We're going to find out why and get into, honestly, some of the conflict and drama behind the scenes, and that is significance.
All right, forgot to do the shout out before I started this, so let's do it now. Like the video. We're at 355 likes. Do you think we can get over to 400? That's 45. So if you think we can get to 45, please hit that like button. Let's get some more people in the chat. Let's get some more people here. We have 309 current viewers. That fluctuates here in, give or take 5. But let's get those likes up to 400 if we can. We're at 355 right now. So let's now continue with the video.
So joining us now, Senator Nina Turner, former campaign co-chair for Bernie Sanders, presidential campaign, and twice congressional candidate in Ohio 11. Nina, welcome back.
Thanks, Gene. Glad to be here.
No problem. So Nina, last time around when you first ran, you got a lot of endorsements. Bernie Sanders, the Congressional Progressive Caucus, the entire squad, Justice Democrats, and the list goes on and on. This time around, you did not get as many. You got Bernie Sanders and you got AOC within the last 24 hours of the campaign, and a couple of others. But a lot of the other folks that I named, including the Congressional Progressive Caucus, did not show up or did not endorse you. Let's put it that way. So what do you think was the main difference that led to that result?
Didn't show up, didn't endorse. I think pretty much the same difference. Before I answer that, Jink, I do want to shout out the folks who did stick by my side. I had local progressive organizations, Stonewall Dems, Our Revolution, both national and Our Revolution Ohio, PDA, Progressive Democrats of America. So those type, Working Families Party. I know I'm leaving DFA, Democracy for America, and I'm leaving out some others. So I do want to shout those folks out for being by my side. And SEIU was the only union that had the courage to endorsed me, SEIU 1199, led by President Becky Williams. So I just want to love on them a little bit. When it comes to the Congressional Progressive Caucus, you're absolutely right. Not only did they not show up for me, they endorsed the other candidate and she is very far from being a progressive. If in fact the Progressive Caucus, and we know that there are recent articles where you have Congresswoman Jayapal, because of the pressure that the movement put on them and questioning why would you do something like that, they, she started to rethink in that interview she did some of the things that they should do all along, which is not to just out of hand endorse somebody. And Jink, I'm not just any candidate. I am a progressive champion with the receipts to prove it and a leader in the movement itself. And even when I called them, I called both Congresswoman Jayapal and I called Congressman Pocan, had gotten no response from them. Called them, before I made my announcement, no response from them whatsoever. And then Congresswoman Jayapal finally responded to me, I think about 2 weeks ago now, maybe going on 3 weeks ago now, but it was very at the tail end of it. So that is very telling in and of itself.
So I wanted to find the volume button. So I wanted to play the whole thing because I know I was going to be stopping it a lot, but I wanted to play that first part. So let's listen to that again. That exchange is like right here.
Things that they should do all along, which is not to just out of hand endorse somebody. And Jink, I'm not just any candidate. I am a progressive champion with the receipts to prove it and a leader in the movement itself. And even when I called them, I called both Congresswoman Jayapal and I called Congressman Pocan, had gotten no response from them. Called them, before I.
So Congress member Mark Pocan and Jayapal do not return Nina Turner's calls until after the election. You like that? They don't even give her the respect to return her contact until after the election. So let's listen to some more.
made my announcement. No response from them whatsoever. And then Congresswoman Jayapal finally responded to me, I think about 2 weeks ago now, maybe going on 3 weeks ago now, but it was very at the tail end of it. So that is very telling in and of itself.
So I'm about to read you a quote from Congresswoman Jayapal, but you said she finally responded a couple of weeks ago. What did she say?
She thought Congressman Pocan was gonna contact me. There was a personal element to it, so I don't want to tell that part. But just the bottom line that she thought Congressman Pocan was going to respond, that my campaign manager was made aware, that they were going to do this, and that no money was going to be, put behind their endorsement. So it was, other than the personal part to it, it was just run of the mill excuses as far as I'm concerned. There is no rationale whatsoever as to why the CPC would endorse a candidate who is not only not progressive, but the forces that came in here to buy this seat yet again, big oil, and also crypto billionaire, they are the antithesis of what those funding streams, super PAC dark money, are the antithesis of what the Congressional Progressive Caucus says it stands for.
So let me give you their explanation and then get your reaction. So Punchbowl News reports, in an interview, Jayapal defended the Brown endorsement, describing her as a progressive member, quote, in good standing for 4 months, who met all the qualification laid out by the CPC. How do you respond to that?
They need different qualifications. That endorsement makes no sense whatsoever, especially I'm Nina Turner, the Nina Turner, as I'm called. It made no sense to jump into the race like that without at least even consulting me to see what I was going to do, to not return my call.
Sorry, I'm a little quiet a little bit because I'm taking this in too. Like, I'm taking this in. I can't believe. So I'm gonna rewind this, but let me first ingest the first time I'm hearing this, and then I'm going to rewind and just kind of take it point by point here. But this is a lot. This is a lot. Well, this is more than a little. Let's not say a lot. This is more than just a little sort of breaking information here.
It made no sense.
So Nina, people, including myself, call you the Nina Turner because of your track record, not because you've got, we like your glasses or anything like that. So and because of your track record in supporting 2 presidential campaigns for Bernie Sanders and the progressive movement, et cetera. But Mark Pocan on television said Chantel Brown is a perfectly good progressive. He couldn't tell you guys apart. Let me get your reaction.
2 things are wrong with that. One, don't say that about Black people, that you can't tell us. There's a historical stereotypical slant to that. That's number one. Like, just don't do that. Secondly, my God, really? We're the same? Nothing can be further from the truth. So instead of just admitting that they were wrong, he just threw some stuff out there to see if it was going to stick. He also said nobody in the caucus objected to it, which I'm finding out that is not true. And as a matter of fact, Congresswoman Cori Bush did go on record as saying that was not true. So, I definitely thank her for that. They made a horrible miscalculation, and they should just admit that they're wrong. And also, what was in that article that you just put up there was her kind of going back and forth about, if those types of variables happen in terms of endorsing somebody, then maybe they shouldn't endorse that person. Maybe they should wait.
Wow. So actually, before I give my thoughts, let me hear what your thoughts are. It looks like there's a lot. So actually, let me put this up to give everybody who hasn't typed anything. So far, what are your thoughts? Put those in the chat, please. You've heard what she said. She's pretty much called out Pramila Jayapal, called out Mark Pocan, both of them as not returning her communication. And I think she said she reached out to them before she announced her campaign. No response. And she said Pramila reached out to her 2 weeks ago. And she reached out to them before the campaign. Okay. Then they're talking about this article where they're basically saying they're both great progressives. And this is what Nina Turner is saying about that. But what, so far, what are your thoughts? And I'll throw them up for discussion. We have a good amount of people in the chat, so let's get this discussion popping here. Okay. She lifted up Cori Bush. I truly appreciate your analysis, but don't listen to the sheep herding experts. Waste of time. Who cares? Way too little, way too late. They ditched her. I kind of feel sorry for Nina, but then again, Nina didn't win. Pecan punts. Blame it on anything and everything except for her damn self. Unfortunately, progressive socialists, anarchists, communists, Marxists, leftists, libertarian, Republican, Democrats are all terms that are loaded and are appealing to some, repelling to others. Okay, so here we go. That we should give to mutual aid and build a new superstructure and base. That is great. Love that comment. There's no such thing as a progressive Democrat. It's almost like an oxymoron. It's like saying progressive imperialist. Does that make sense? A progressive imperialist. So, no. Once we get progressives into Senate, then the revolution can begin. Hello, somebody. Vote harder. All right. Let's see. This will be the last one. Nina is talking like she got all of her talking points from Hillary Clinton after she lost to Trump. Wow. The audience is not letting up on Nina. But let's take this point by point here. So I'm going to rewind it. Now that I had time to ingest it.
Candidate in Ohio 11.
Let's talk point.
Nina, welcome back.
Thanks, Jane. Glad to be here.
No problem. Nina, last time around when you first ran, you got a lot of endorsements. Bernie Sanders, the Congressional Progressive Caucus, the entire squad, Justice Democrats, and the list goes on and on. This time around, you did not get as many. You got Bernie Sanders and you got AOC within the last 24 hours of the campaign, and a couple of others. But a lot of the other folks that I named, including the Congressional Progressive Caucus, did not show up or did not endorse you. Let's put it that way. So what do you think was the main difference that led to that result?
Didn't show up, didn't endorse. I think pretty much the same difference. Before I answer that, Jink, I do want to shout out the folks who did stick by my side. I had local progressive organizations, Stonewall Dems, Our Revolution, both national and Our Revolution Ohio, PDA, Progressive Democrats of America. So those type, Working Families Party. I know I'm leaving DFA, Democracy for America, and I'm leaving out some others. So I do want to shout those folks out for being by my side. And SEIU was the only union that had the courage to endorse me, SEIU 1199, led by President Becky Williams. So I just want to love on them a little bit. When it comes to the Congressional Progressive Caucus, you're absolutely right. Not only did they not show up for me, they endorsed the other candidate and she is very far from being a progressive. If in fact the Progressive Caucus, and we know that there are recent articles where you have Congresswoman Jayapal, because of the pressure that the movement put on them and questioning why would you do something like that, she started to rethink in that interview she did some of the things that they should do all along, which is not to just out of hand endorse somebody. And Jink, I'm not just any candidate.
But so this is the first part we'll talk about, and that's to not just endorse any to me, like, do we have to have set up criteria for us not to endorse a corporate candidate when we're the Progressive Caucus? So I have a little bit of that reaction to this. Like, Nina Turner is still being nice, even after knowing all this stuff, how they didn't come out to support. She's still kind of being nice, in my opinion, and the way that she's speaking about him. And that could be because she wants to run again, but let's listen. Let's break it down some more.
It. You know, I am a progressive champion with the receipts to prove it, and a leader in the movement itself. And even when I called them, I called both Congresswoman Jayapal and I called Congressman Pocan, had gotten no response from them.
She called them.
Called them, you know, before I made my announcement. No response from them whatsoever.
So let's be clear. This wasn't 2 weeks ago. It wasn't a few days ago. She called them before her campaign and not a word, not a peep. She does go on to say that Pramila does contact her like about 2 weeks ago from today. That's a long time. Let's continue.
Whatsoever. And then Congresswoman Jayapal finally responded to me, I think about 2 weeks ago now, maybe going on 3 weeks ago now, but it was very at the tail end of it. So that is very telling in and of itself.
So I'm about to read you a quote from Congresswoman Jayapal, but you said she finally responded a couple of weeks ago. What did she say?
She thought Congressman Pocan was gonna contact me. There was a personal element to it, so I don't want to tell that part. But just the bottom line, that she thought Congressman Pocan was going to respond, that my campaign manager was made aware, you know, that they were going to do this.
So now it's the, oh, I thought the other piece of shit was gonna call you. Oh, my bad. My bad. I thought the other person who's avoiding you was gonna call you.
And that no money was going to be, you know, put behind their endorsement. So it was, other than the personal part to it, it was just run of the mill excuses as far as I'm concerned.
So I thought he was gonna call you and say we weren't gonna do this, and this. Even though I work with you every day on the Bernie Sanders campaign, I thought I was your friend. But I thought the other piece of shit was gonna hit you up.
There is no rationale whatsoever as to why the CPC would endorse a candidate who is not only not progressive, but the forces that came in here to buy this seat yet again,
Terrible.
big oil, you know, and also crypto billionaire, they are the antithesis of what those funding streams, Super PAC dark money, are the antithesis of what the Congressional Progressive Caucus says it stands for.
So let me give you their explanation and then get your reaction. So Punchbowl News reports, in an interview, Jayapal defended the Brown endorsement, describing her as a progressive member, quote, in good standing for 4 months, who met all the qualification laid out.
So let's examine this here. In an interview, Jayapal defended the Brown endorsement, describing her as a progressive member in good standing for 4 months, who met all qualifications laid out by the CPC. So the qualifications are the problem. What does that mean, in good standing for 4 months? The only thing that should put you not in good standing, if you're doing things that's not progressive, then a whole fucking caucus should not be in good standing.
Out by the CPC. What do you? How do you respond to that?
They need more. They need different qualifications. That endorsement makes no sense whatsoever. Especially, I'm Nina Turner, the Nina Turner, as I'm called.
What does that mean when she says that? Especially since I'm Nina Turner, the Nina Turner. What does that mean? Does anybody have any takes on what does she mean by that, or what is she getting at? This is the second or third time she's made reference in that manner of, like, I'm not a regular progressive. I'm Nina Turner. Like, I'm not a regular candidate. I'm Nina Turner. So what is she talking about here? Hang on a second here. I tweeted this out. Okay, thanks, Nick. All right, so perfect. Because I'm gonna get some more people in here. Get your comments. She's not a oops. There we go. Got it in there. You got a senator. Exceptionalism by being with Bernie. That's how TYT has referred to her in the past. Oh. She is full of herself. Oh. No, I don't mean the Nina Turner. I mean, why does she's speaking as if I'm not a regular person running. I'm Nina Turner. Like, why is she saying that in that way? That's what I'm asking. Let's continue with the interview here.
Call. It made no sense to jump into the race like that without at least even consulting me to see what I was going to do to not return my call. It made no sense.
So, Nina, people, including myself, call you the Nina Turner because of your track record, not because you've got. We like your glasses or anything like that. So, and because of your track record in supporting 2 presidential campaigns for Bernie Sanders and the progressive movement, etc. But Mark Pocan on television said Chantel Brown is a perfectly good progressive. He couldn't tell you guys apart. Let me get your reaction.
2 things are wrong with that. One, don't say that about Black people.
I mean, I guess this is a point, but I think the point should be made that, hey, let me explain why that's so dangerous and damaging to the left. Because when you describe somebody who's not left as being progressive or leftist, the average layperson who is aspiring to be left may start to look to that person as the model of a leftist who actually is not a leftist. That's why it's important for people like Pramila Jayapal and Mark Pocan in his article not to say stuff like that. That's the critique I feel like Nina Turner should be placing here.
That you can't tell us there's a stereotypical, historical, stereotypical slant to that. That's number one. Like, just don't do that. Secondly, my God, really? We're the same? Nothing can be further from the truth. So instead of just admitting that they were wrong, he just threw some stuff out there to see if it was going to stick. He also said nobody in the caucus objected to it, which I'm finding out that is not true. And as a matter of fact, Congresswoman Cori Bush did go on record as saying that was not true. So, I definitely thank her.
So Cori Bush was the only one that did not.
For that. They made a horrible miscalculation, and they should just admit that they're wrong. And also what was in that article that you just put up there was her kind of going back and forth about, if those types of variables happen in terms of endorsing somebody, then maybe they shouldn't endorse that person. Maybe they should wait 6 months to 12 months before they start endorsing people who have no progressive bona fides whatsoever. And not only that, this person that they endorse also is a part of the Blue Dog Caucus. She's a part of the caucus that is total antithesis.
Right. So you're telling me your qualifications that you currently have on the books, you don't have something that says, hey, you can't be part of another caucus. In particular, you can't be a part of another caucus that is the opposite of what this caucus stands for. Like, you can't be part of the slave abolitionist party, and also the slave owner party. Like, that doesn't work. So how is that should have been disqualifying? That. Like, even if that's not written into whatever qualifications, that should be disqualifying of a endorsement. Here we go. Nina Turner deserves to be clowned all day and all night just for blocking Jimmy Dore. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, I forgot about that. That is true. That is true. Yeah. Progressive Dems are terrible. Let's put that back up there and let's continue with the interview. The thing is, I haven't even got to halfway through the interview. I'm not gonna, put his whole interview on my stream, but let's listen to some more.
What the Progressive Caucus is supposed to stand for.
Yeah, and so let me clarify a couple of things. First of all, to be fair to Congressman Pocan, I'm paraphrasing him when he said he couldn't tell you guys apart. I think he was mainly referring to your policies, just to be clear.
I know, but
Yeah.
still, I'm glad you cleared that up. But it's just something, the hairs on the back of my neck stand up as a Black woman for anybody to say that, especially if they are not Black. I mean, that's very clear to say you can't tell us apart. But I get it. I understand where you're going from. Just talking about the historical context of it. And two, come on, that's a bunch of.
Well, I want to get to the come on because other groups, this is fairly unprecedented actually, and it goes to your point about, and in case the audience doesn't know, I mean, obviously there are a ton of progressive groups and the base that believes that Senator Nina Turner is a very large part of the progressive movement. She's not, she's.
I'm not interchangeable, James.
Yeah,
I mean I guess, yeah.
Just to bring that point home, I've never seen state level progressive caucuses weigh in a congressional election, especially not in their own state. But they did in this case. When the CPC endorsed Shontel Brown, a number of state progressive caucuses came out and said, no, it's Nina Turner, right? And so I'll show you that tweet here, and then I want to read you just two of the paragraphs they wrote. And then I want to come back to the question of the difference between you and Shontel Brown, because this was their point of view. They said there are politicians that have made a career out of finding the safe middle ground. And then there's Nina Turner advocating for what will help her constituents, regardless of the political costs. We don't need more feckless politicians. We need Nina Turner. So I give that to the context of the audience so they understand this is a nationwide movement that feels that way, right or wrong, win or lose, they feel that way. And so I think what I'm trying to get at here for the people who don't understand, they will say, well, Nina, in her 4 months in Congress, she seemed to have kind of basically voted with progressives. I mean, it depends on who you call progressives because she didn't vote on she voted to decouple infrastructure and build back better. The squad did not, so she didn't vote with them on that. But outside of that, they'll say she generally votes in the right direction. So what is the difference?
And the Iran deal too. That was a signature policy of President Obama. President Biden is pushing that forward.
But I mean, let's. I'm gonna pause it here. Got a little. It's not a rant, but what is the difference? Honestly, Shontel Brown says she's for Medicare for all. She's a co-sponsor. Both of you support Israel. Both of you. So what's the difference? She's part of the progressive caucus that you would be a part of if you were elected. So I'm not asking for what the superficial difference is. What she will tweet out, what she'll say. What is the results? You're in Congress instead of her. What would be different? This 40 billion come up. How would you have voted? That's really the question. It feels like the reformist leftists are still trying to fit the square peg of progressive and leftism into the round hole of the Democratic Capitalist Imperialist Party. And when you try to, this is a great analogy. And when you try to shove that in, the way you get it in is how some of the edges sort of shave off, right? Some of your edge as a progressive being pushed through this shape that's not you, but we keep pushing. How do we get it through? Some of your coating is rubbed off. Some of your progressive progressive swag falls off. And we saw it in the way that Nina Turner spoke during the campaign, how it switched. How she went from one bowl of shit of Joe Biden to he's doing a great job. And I agree with Joe Biden on this, and I agree with Joe Biden on that. The problem when you try to play both sides, here's the problem that Nina Turner fell into, is that both sides are not going to support you. And you saw that with Nina Turner. You saw you challenged the establishment when you were with Bernie. And they didn't like that. You were with us and we liked you. Then you decided to, hey, let me try to join a team that I badmouth, which you've already created a bad taste in their mouth. And they're saying, okay, you changed. Okay, so you run. But now, in order to cozy up with them, you have to turn off your most enthusiastic supporters. There's no way to walk this tightrope and not pick a side. There's no way to do that. There's too many candidates think, oh, I'm going to keep a foot here. No, you're not. Either you're going to win on the strength of your supporters, your most strongest, hardened supporters, or you're going to win because you completely sold out. To me, there's no in between. But they keep trying to sell us on there is an in between. There is none. Let's get some of your comments here before we get a little more of the video. Let's see if she drops any other newsworthy breaking sort of information. I am great. I'm Nina. I'm great. Forget reality. Israel murdered a journalist today. But she's against BDS. Nina should have brought way more fire. This notion is ready to pop. This nation is ready. Yes. She was speaking as if we didn't just go through a pandemic. We're out on the verge of a nuclear war and people are getting evicted and inflation. Like, you're talking as if none of that's happening. Great comment. Let's go to another comment. All talk, no bite. Not sure, but Nina seems to gravitate towards places like TYT, Crystal and Cows and Friends, the surfs, and Nina, why don't you come on over to RBN? Come on over to RBN. Back during her first campaign, I DM'd her. She was following me, or she just started following me. I was small, but she was following me because I had put up, what is everybody willing to do to get Nina Turner? This is back when I was down with it. Went to get Nina Turner elected, and she saw it, tagged her. After that, she started following me. And then I think I had like 9,000 subscribers at that time. Messaged her, hey, we got your back. Whatever you need, we got you. And she said, thank you. And then it was a slow progression. She didn't say anything after that. Like, hey, can you phone? Almost as if she knew she was going to be pivoting. So why even tell me, hey, can you phone me? Can you do this? Because she knew she was going to pivot to a place and have to go to a place that I wasn't going to support her or people like me. Let's see any other comments. Show that you're actually fighting. I haven't seen any of that, Nina. That's the win is in the fight. The win is in the fight. More people, progressives, leftists need to understand that who are running.
And I think it was 18 of them total Democrats, and being against that. The difference is there is a one way.
Oh shoot! I just realized I need to get off because there's a there's the round table. So let me tell them I'm going to get off. There's a round table in like a few minutes. So I'm going to be signing off here. Everybody, please like this stream before I sign off here. There is a round table coming up in about 3 minutes. Good thing I looked at the fucking or I looked at the thing. So I'm at 683 likes. Can we get 17 more? Can we get to 700 likes before the stream ends? And let's go ahead and end the stream. Thank you for watching today's episode. All right, so thank you. All right, so thank you for watching today's episode. I'm going to be signing off a little abruptly because I didn't realize the time. The squad is not who they say they are. Progressive Democrats are terrible. Voting for Democrats is not the way to go, no matter how good the person is. And that's going to be it. Thank you for those on Rockfin, on Twitter, and everywhere else that watched us today. I'm your host for you. Let me put that back up here. Oops. All right. Sorry, everybody. Okay, there we go. You left shit out, and I'm going to be signing off. So thank you for joining us. Where is the sign off button here? Thank you.